Hello, in this video I'm going to be cleaning an idle air control valve. The idle air control valve, or IACV, that I will be cleaning is a stepper motor type. The other type uses a mechanism similar to a door where it opens and shuts. When cleaning the IACV, I recommend using gloves during the process because you will be using chemicals such as water body cleaner, which is hazardous. To start off with the cleaning process, I'm going to start cleaning the surface of the IACV where it connects to the engine. I'm going to use a razor blade to do this, and I'm going to carefully scrape off any leftover residue from the gasket. I tilt the razor blade about 45 degrees and very carefully scrape the excess residue. Make sure to be very careful because you don't want to cause any severe scratches on the surface because you don't want it to activate. Then get a rag or a washcloth and some throttle body cleaner and spray the cleaner onto the rag. I didn't want the cleaner to splatter all over the place, so I sprayed it onto the rag. Then when the rag is moist with the throttle body cleaner, I just wiped around the surface. Just simply wipe around the areas and make sure it's clean. There's no particular order in which side to wipe. Just wipe around the best you can and make sure it's clean. The surface doesn't have to be spotless. Just make sure there's no noticeable bumps of dirt or residue. The idea is to make sure it's flat so there won't be any back leaks. Also clean the inside of the idle air control valve. There will be a lot of dirt on the inside, but most of the dirt will be carbon deposits instead of the gasket residue. To clean the inside is very similar to cleaning the mating surfaces on the outside. Simply spray a rag with some throttle body cleaner and start wiping away on the inside. It may be a little bit more difficult since the inside is not as exposed, but again, it doesn't have to be spotless. Just try to make it as clean as it can. I found it best to wrap the cloth around my index finger. I found it easier to clean up the dirt in the tighter spaces doing it this way. Again, the inside doesn't have to be spotless, but just clean it enough where there is no dirt preventing any airflow. So now I'm going to clean the area where the valve opens and closes. This area is very important because this is where the airflow gets regulated. If it's clogged here, the car can definitely have idle issues. To clean this, I sprayed throttle body cleaner inside the hole, and then I used a Q-tip to remove the carbon deposits or any dirt. If you need to clean up some more, just add some more throttle body cleaner and continue to remove any more dirt as necessary. I wouldn't soak the inside with throttle body cleaner. I would just add a little amount and continue to add some more when necessary. You can scrub the sides of the hole, and there is also a spring inside here, so make sure you get the spring clean so it can freely move and function correctly. While scrubbing as much dirt away as possible with the Q-tip, don't forget you can use the other side of the Q-tip if necessary. This particular idle air control valve is a 3-piece part. There are motors attached to the unit to regulate airflow. These motors are what move the internal parts in the unit. There are 2 motors on this unit, and the first one that I'm removing is the motor that moves the main valve. To remove the one that is currently being removed in the video has 2 screws holding it down. The screws are located on the sides of the motor, and these screws simply screw off with a Phillips screwdriver. And I'm removing this motor because this will allow me to slightly reposition the spring down so that I can get more room in the main valve for better cleaning. So now that I have the main motor removed, I can push down on the spring and reposition it to get more room to get a better cleaning. Without removing the spring, there's just no way to get to the top of the valve, and the top of the valve is where all the gunk and carbon deposits can be. To clean the area where the valve is, I just used a Q-tip to remove all the dirt. I just cleaned it the best I could, making sure that the dirt was all gone. You can also use throttle body cleaner if necessary. So now on to the next motor. This motor is different from the other motor, especially regarding the removal process. The removal process on this motor is simply unscrewing it. The motor itself is attached to the unit and does not use any screws similar to the previous motor. When the motor is unattached to the unit, I used a Q-tip to clean the inside. I cleaned around the threads and inside. I just cleaned it the best that I could. I tried to remove as much dirt as possible. So the second motor is a two-piece part. There's a shaft inside, which is a shaft that regulates the airflow. I cleaned the shaft and the inside of the motor. Another piece that comes off is a screw that controls how high the car will idle. This screw allows you to adjust the idle to a higher idle or a lower idle. This can be adjusted with a Phillips screwdriver or a flathead screwdriver. This screw can also be removed with a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead screwdriver. So once this screw is off, I clean the threads and the insides at this end. So now that everything is cleaned, the part needs to be put back together. Putting it back together is straightforward, and I'm going to start attaching the smaller sized motor to the unit. To attach it is the reverse order of removing it, so simply just screw it back on. An adjustable wrench definitely helps to tighten the motor. I just held the unit with one hand and used my other hand with the adjustable wrench to tighten the motor until it's snug. I also need to reattach the bolt that controls the idle of the car. This bolt allows you to adjust idle speed to a higher speed or a lower speed. How much idle speed doesn't need to be determined right now. It's when the unit is installed that the unit can be adjusted properly to give the car the right idle speed. When the bigger motor is ready to be installed, don't forget to include a new O-ring. The bigger motor has 2 bolts on the side of the motor. These screws can be tightened with a Phillips screwdriver.